someone is supposed to manage that. Because the moment I've realized that the moment you don't delegate, you're actually creating even a worse crisis whereby your phone is going to ring for the whole day and you can no longer concentrate on strategy. Yeah.
And there's also one thing that I've discovered, like there are things that, just like you say, you know that you're going to die, right? Everyone knows that they're going to get old. And time is moving, but it seems like no one is getting prepared for that time when they're old and they can no longer get employed, or they can no longer do much of the things that they're doing right now. And when the time comes, they feel it like it's a crisis. Well, it was something that can be avoided.
Yeah.
So, and sometimes people are causing crises on themselves. Like, they're waiting for the crisis to come. They can see it coming and they're like, I'll see it when it comes.
Yeah.
That issue when people say we'll cross the bridge when we get there.
That's true.
And also the other thing about crisis, is everything really crisis, or there are things that we have a misconception about and then we think that it's crisis, but in actual fact it's something that is there to help you?
100%. Yeah, that's what now. How you do determine that you are actually in a crisis now depends now with your mental fitness to say. Like currently, we're in COVID-19 and there's a lockdown. Most of other business are actually cashing into this crisis. But some have actually chose to say it's a crisis and I cannot even go all out and I don't want even to attempt because my business is in trouble. I would rather shut down. And to say all the workers are retrenched, we'll see it when COVID ends. And most probably it's not going to end. I was with this other businesswoman. She actually said it's unfortunate that our people are dying. But to be honest, I've made a lot of money than I ever made in my whole life because of this crisis. You see? So do you think that lady is in a crisis?
No, definitely not.
She can actually even wish to say, I wish the death rates could increase. You see, there's some other people who've got funeral parlors. Yes, wants to be there. Yes, they are mourned, they are people, but if many people die, they know that everyone is going to know that they need a funeral policy. Medical aids, they know that if people they're sick and they recover, they will know that they have to have medical aid. So it depends with what you see as crisis. Like even you may be in a marriage. Someone can be divorced. Like if you look at maybe someone can be divorced, and if a lady is divorced today, they can even marry a better person.
Yeah, out of the crisis, huh?
Yeah, like someone, you look at your mama Gracia, ended up marrying Nelson Mandela.
Yeah.
But when Samora died, she thought that it was the end. But you see, it's a crisis which is actually benefiting her. So that's what I think to say. It might seem as if you are in a crisis, but you are not even in a crisis. It's all about your mentality and the way you actually view things.
I was talking to one other guy on my way to work just last week, and he was saying, you know what, I know that people they're dying. I know that COVID-19 is a problem because we're losing loved ones and such and such and such. But then I'm actually enjoying this COVID-19 because I'm staying at home, I'm having time with my wife and stuff. I'm like, this is one thing that most people don't want to admit openly, and they don't want to say it because they will feel like the people who are having a lot of deaths in their families, they'll feel very bad. But then most people, they're actually taking advantage of whatever situation that we are in right now. And those who are fortunate enough, or should I say wise enough or smart enough to turn the tides and make money out of it, they are doing it right now.
Yeah, that's true.
And the other thing about crisis, I don't know about Zimbabwean businesses and other things, but with the current situation that we are in right now, a lot of people are home and a few guys are coming to work. How can we consider this a crisis to the business owner or a crisis to the person who is being employed?
Yeah, I thank you very much. I think it's actually a crisis to both, but it's mostly I feel very sad for the employees because they've got nothing to do, and sometimes you can see that we've got a chance to survive, but if the management decides to shut down, not to go under lockdown. How definitely that employee has to look for somewhere else to go, and even for that employee, many people they are not even trying to apply for vacancies because they think that no, how can I get a vacancy during COVID? But to be honest, other companies are recruiting, and people should continue to push. If you're an employee, I think I even my employees, I tell them that if you're going to stay at M&J, you are supposed to rise into you're supposed to get a shareholding of M&J. That's where you are supposed to target. You're supposed to target to get into the executive, because M&J is going to grow. So long if God gives us energy and health, it's going to grow into a lot of companies. You're supposed to have a stake there. Or you're supposed to leave and start maybe your own. Because what I know for a fact is that being an employee only will never give you a fortune. That's a lie. That's a lie. So I would rather tell them to say, you stay here and target the shareholding, or you would rather start your own. That's your own two targets. Not to be, we don't want to give people prizes or to say you're the most saving employee for 20 years without you not even have a shareholding. I think that is a deep crisis. This is the crisis which is actually being, especially the entrepreneurs of nowadays or the employers of nowadays, they would rather see someone, they are happy to have someone who they call is loyal, and they want to empower that person. Is loyal, he worked for us for 10 years, but then what? He worked for us for 20 years. But they are going into retirement without anything, without a fortune. There's no way you can be a billionaire or an employee only.
I think I would call that a mental crisis on the employee's part, right?
And the employer also. But some of the people are actually intimidated when someone says they want to start their own thing, or they are targeting to be CEO of M&J. I would rather employ someone who wants to target my seat. Because I know that at least I can go and rest maybe as a chairman there. Then I'll leave him as a what? As a CEO. Yeah.
So I think this is one of the biggest crises that we're facing right now. The mental crisis. When people think that they are going to achieve something and then someone takes it as a threat, or when you are involved in a problem and you take it as the end of the day or the end of everything, well, in actual instance, it's actually an opportunity for you to showcase your strength, for you to showcase that you can do it, for you to showcase that whatever life throws at you, you are able to overcome it regardless of what. Because just look at it. We are humans. Come on, fire came, technology came, we're having smartphones, we're having computers, now AI is coming, now we're targeting to go to Mars.
Yeah.
How can you say that this is the end?
Yes, like Elon Musk is actually targeting to go to Mars. Mars, yes. And I think you should actually, it's the right time to get stains in Mars.
Yeah, this is the time.
Because I know that humankind is going to achieve that. Definitely is going to achieve that. Yeah.
And if you are not thinking big enough, if you are not setting your mind in the right place, if you are not having your mind exercised, seeing a lot of videos like these ones, trying to get prepared for whatever crisis is going to come into your life, then it's going to be a real problem when it comes, because definitely crisis is going to come.
Yeah.
But what's going to differentiate us?
It's how we're going to react.
Exactly. So I think everyone should get prepared.
Yeah.
Mentally, physically, and also spiritually.
Yeah, even if you look at the liberation war struggle, there was a war. Some of the people decided not to join. Some of the people joined. And there are some of the people actually in power right now. They went to war, they're 17 years. So people reacted differently. Some decided to go to Mozambique, Tanzania in order to fight that in the war. Some also said, no, we can't, we have to go to the cities and seek refuge there. Some even ran away out of the country. So it depends. Each and every crisis, it actually comes with its own pros. So I believe even our worst crisis I don't know if I call it a decade or in the century, the COVID-19 crisis, we are in a crisis, but many are still cashing into that crisis. Many business like the medical field, I think most of the companies in China, they are now manufacturing medical equipment. Some they even stopped manufacturing phones and computers to focus on what? On the medical equipment, the likes of Samsung. So it's a crisis. The way you are going to react, the way you are going to shift, the flexibility in shifting from being defensive from reactionary to being defensive, that is what is going to determine if you're going to be successful in your life, even in business. In business, I usually encourage people, when you're employing someone, you better, I don't want to call my people employees. I hate that word. I would rather call them staff members. I employ employers. Because if you employ employers, you don't have your 8 to 5 mentality in your company. And an employer, they are willing to take responsibility and they are willing to check on themselves. You don't need, I would rather hire motivated people than to motivate people. That's impossible.